My name doesn't matter anymore because I'm the last living soul in Vault 11, and I need to tell you what we did down there before I join the others. This is the story of how 150 people entered a vault to escape nuclear fire, only to discover that Vault-Tec had designed something worse than any bomb. A system where we had to vote to kill one person every year, or everyone would die. And if you genuinely enjoy this kind of dark storytelling, consider subscribing and liking the channel, but only if it truly resonates with you. What we didn't know, what we learned only after 11 years of murdering each other, after the riots, after my own daughter died trying to stop the killing, was that we could have all survived if we'd just refused from the very beginning. My name doesn't matter anymore. Not after what we did down there. Not after what I helped create in that steel tomb they called Vault 11. You think you understand evil. You think you know what desperation can make people do. But until you've stood in that chamber, until you've heard the automated voice counting down the days until someone has to die, you don't know anything. I still hear it sometimes. That voice, pleasant and calm, like a pre-war receptionist. 16 days until the next sacrifice. 15 days. 14. Always counting down to murder. When the bombs fell, we thought we were the lucky ones. 150 souls rushing into Vault 11 while the world burned above us. My wife, Sarah, held our daughter Emma so tight I thought she might break. We descended those metal stairs listening to the sirens fade and the vault door grinding shut. That sound, metal on metal, sealing us in. We thought it was sealing the death out. We had no idea it was sealing us in with something worse. The first month was almost normal. We settled into our quarters, established routines, started hydroponics. The overseer, a man named Richardson, kept everything running smooth. Former city councilman, good with people. We trusted him. Then came the announcement that changed everything. I was in the cafeteria when it happened. The intercom crackled to life and that voice, that damned automated voice, explained the rules. Vault 11 must sacrifice one resident every year. If we refused, if we failed to meet this requirement, the vault's life support would terminate and everyone would die. The silence that followed was the loudest thing I've ever heard. Sarah grabbed my hand so hard her nails drew blood. Emma asked what sacrifice meant. She was only 8. How do you explain to an 8-year-old that we have to kill someone every year to stay alive? Richardson tried to keep order. Said we'd figure something out, find a loophole. Maybe the computer was malfunctioning. But Vault-Tec doesn't make mistakes like that. Everything was working exactly as intended. We had 11 months to choose our first victim. 11 months of meetings, arguments, tears. Some people suggested drawing straws. Others wanted to vote. A few volunteered the sick and elderly, said it was merciful. Mrs. Chen was dying of cancer anyway, but she wanted every last day with her grandchildren. Who were we to take that from her? You want to know what fear does to good people? It makes them mathematicians of death. We started calculating. Who contributed least? Who caused the most? Trouble? Who did we need the least? Every conversation became an evaluation. Every mistake someone made got filed away in our minds. He's clumsy in the workshop. She argues too much. Their kid cries at night and keeps everyone awake. The worst part was the pretending. We'd share meals, play cards, help each other with repairs, all while secretly wondering if this person would be the one we'd send to die. I caught myself studying people's routines, noting who was isolated, who wouldn't be missed as much. Then I'd go back to our quarters and hold Emma while she slept, terrified that other people were making the same calculations about us. By month 10, factions had formed. The original Vault Dwellers versus the latecomers who'd barely made it in, before the door sealed. The workers versus the administrators, families versus singles. Everyone scrambling to make sure it wouldn't be them or theirs. Richardson proposed what seemed like a solution. We'd make the overseer position both powerful and sacrificial. 1 year of absolute authority, then you become the sacrifice. It seemed fair, democratic even. We'd vote for our leaders, and they'd serve the ultimate term limit. The first election was vicious. People campaigned on platforms of minor grievances and petty revenge. Vote for me, and I'll make sure the cafeteria serves better food this year. Vote for me, and I'll assign better work shifts. Vote for me, and I'll die for you. That was the unspoken promise. 1 year of power in exchange for death. Catherine Summers won. She was nobody's first choice, but everyone's second. A librarian before the war, quiet, organized, no family in the vault. She spent her year improving the education system, setting up proper schools for the children, organizing the archives. She never mentioned what was coming. The day arrived, January 15th, 2078, the first sacrifice. We gathered in the main hall, as the computer instructed. Catherine stood at the podium, wearing her best vault suit, hair pulled back neat like always. She thanked us for the opportunity to serve. Her voice didn't even shake. Then she walked through the door marked Sacrifice Chamber, and we never saw her again. The computer confirmed her termination. Life support systems would continue for another year. That night, Sarah and I lay awake listening to Emma breathe. We'd bought our daughter another year of life with Catherine Summers' blood. The math was simple, 1 death for 149 lives. But math doesn't factor in what it costs your soul. The second year, we elected Marcus Webb. He'd been caught stealing food rations, just little things, but enough to make him unpopular. He spent his year as overseer trying to redeem himself, working 18-hour days to improve the vault. It didn't matter. When his time came, he begged. The security team had to drag him to the chamber while his wife screamed and his teenage son tried to fight them off. That's when the real darkness began. When we realized we weren't just choosing sacrifices anymore. We were choosing who we hated enough to kill. What do you think really happened here? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd like to know if I'm the only one who feels this way. The third year changed everything. The families had learned to band together, forming voting blocks to protect their own. The singles and elderly didn't stand a chance. They elected old Henry Patterson, a 70-year-old maintenance worker with bad knees and no relatives. He went quietly, but not before leaving a note on the bulletin board. It said, "We'd become the very bombs that destroyed the world above, killing each other slowly instead of all at once." That's when the Justice Block formed. 5 families who promised to vote together, protecting each other by targeting outsiders. The Human Dignity Block rose to counter them, claiming to represent individual rights. But really, they were just another group trying to save their own skins. The campaigns turned into smear operations. Anonymous notes would appear accusing people of crimes, real or imagined, affairs, theft, laziness, anything that might swing a vote. My family tried to stay neutral, but neutrality is a luxury you can't afford when anyone could paint a target on your back. Emma was 11 now, old enough to understand what was happening. She stopped playing with the other children, stopped talking at meals. She knew what we all knew, that every adult in this vault was a potential murderer, and every child was being raised by killers. The 4th election was when Jonathan Hayes, from the Justice Block, made his move. He didn't run for overseer. Instead, his block elected Margaret Stone, a single woman who'd opposed them. They spent the year making her life hell, restricting her actual power while maintaining the fiction of her authority. She presided over a vault she couldn't actually run, watching the blocks carve up power between themselves, knowing she'd die for their political games. I still remember her final speech. She stood at that podium, thin from a year of stress, and told us we were all damned. That Vault-Tec might have designed this system, but we were the ones operating it. We were the ones who turned survival into systematic murder. She was right. Every word was right. The 5th year broke us completely. The blocks had grown into political machines, and Jonathan Hayes had perfected the art of weaponized democracy. His Justice Block didn't just protect their members anymore. They hunted. They kept lists. Detailed records of every slight, every complaint, every moment of weakness. Did you take an extra minute in the shower? Written down. Did you argue against their proposals in Vault meetings? Documented. Did your child accidentally break something in the common area? Filed away for future use. Sarah started teaching Emma how to be invisible, how to walk without making sound, how to eat without drawing attention, how to exist without giving anyone a reason to remember your name. We became ghosts in our own home, and we weren't the only ones. The Vault split into two kinds of people, those who held power and those who tried to disappear. The sixth election was decided before it began. The Justice Bloc nominated Daniel Frost, a man who'd spoken out against them. But Daniel was smart. He knew it was coming. The night before the election, he took his wife and 2 kids to the sacrifice chamber. All 4 of them. Together. The computer accepted their termination, and we got credit for 4 years. 4 years bought with a family's blood. The Justice Bloc called it a tragedy. Hayes even gave a speech about Daniel's heroism, how he'd saved the Vault from difficult choices. But I saw him later that night, reviewing his lists, crossing off names. The Frost family had been planned for the next 4 elections. Daniel had just expedited the process. That's when the suicides started. Better to die on your own terms than be voted into that chamber. We'd find them in their quarters, in the water recycling room, anywhere they could find peace. The computer counted each one toward our quota. Death had become our currency, and some people preferred to spend it themselves. Emma was 15 when she asked me why we didn't just stop. Why didn't we all refuse together, let the life support fail, die with dignity instead of this slow-motion massacre? I couldn't answer her, because the truth was too ugly. We were cowards, all of us, too afraid of dying to stop killing. The campaigns evolved into something beyond politics. They became passion plays of human suffering. Candidates would confess to crimes they didn't commit just to seem sympathetic. Others would manufacture disabilities, hoping weakness would save them. I watched a perfectly healthy man pretend to lose his sight over the course of 6 months, thinking blindness would make him too pitiable to sacrifice. It didn't work. They elected him anyway. If you've ever wondered what choice you would make in a situation like this, tell me in the comments. I'll be reading them. Year 8 was when my Sarah got nominated. The Human Dignity Bloc put her name forward, claiming she'd been hoarding medicine. It wasn't true. She was the Vault's nurse. She had access to supplies as part of her job, but truth didn't matter anymore. Truth hadn't mattered for years. The Justice Bloc saw an opportunity to eliminate a neutral family, maybe force me to join them for protection. The other blocs smelled blood in the water. Sarah tried to campaign, tried to explain, but who listens to someone they're about to kill? She spent her year as overseer writing, recording everything. The real history of Vault 11, not the sanitized version the computer kept. She documented every death, every political maneuver, every moment of cruelty and cowardice. She said someone needed to know what we'd become. Someone needed to witness our damnation. Emma begged her to run, to fight, to do something, but Sarah just held her and told her to be strong, told her to survive, told her that maybe, if enough people died, the others would finally say no. Maybe our deaths would eventually mean something. The night before her sacrifice, Sarah gave me her recordings, hundreds of holotapes hidden in a maintenance duct. Our true history, our confession. She made me promise to keep them safe, to make sure someone, someday, would know what happened here. She walked into that chamber with her head high. No tears, no begging. She even smiled at Emma, mouthed, "I love you," before the door sealed. The computer confirmed her termination. Life support would continue. Emma stopped talking after that. For 3 months, she didn't say a word. Just stared at people with eyes that had seen too much. The other kids avoided her. The adults avoided her too. She was the daughter of sacrifice now. Marked. Dangerous to associate with. I tried to protect her. Joined the Justice Bloc, thinking Hayes would shield us if I proved useful. I attended their meetings, voted how they told me, helped them identify targets. I gave them names of people who'd shown weakness, people who'd complained, people who'd grieved too loudly for the dead. I became the thing I'd hated, but I told myself it was for Emma. Everything was for Emma. Year 9, they nominated Mr. Chen, the widow of the cancer patient from the first year. He'd never recovered from her loss, spent most of his time maintaining the reactor, alone in the depths of the vault. Perfect target. No allies, no block protection, already half dead from grief. He thanked us when they announced his name. Actually, thanked us for ending his wait. Year 10 was supposed to be Thomas Riley, a Justice Block member who'd questioned Hayes' leadership, but Thomas knew the game too well. The night before the election, he made a deal with the Human Dignity Block, information for protection. He gave them everything. Hayes' lists, the planned nominations for the next 5 years, the secret agreements between block leaders. The vault erupted. Families discovered they'd been marked for death years in advance. Couples learned their spouses had nominated them. Parents found out their children were on lists. The careful order Hayes had built collapsed. In a single night, the violence started small. A fistfight in the cafeteria, a vandalized door. Then someone sabotaged the Justice Block's water supply. Hayes retaliated by cutting power to level 3, where the Human Dignity Block lived. Back and forth, escalation after escalation. We were killing each other now, without even waiting for the elections. Emma found me in our quarters one night, crying over Sarah's recordings. She was 18 now, an adult by Vault standards. She sat beside me, took my hand, and spoke for the first time in almost a year. She said we were already dead, all of us. We died the moment we agreed to that first sacrifice. Everything since had just been the twitching of corpses. But maybe, she said, maybe we could still choose how our story ended. That's when she told me about the plan. A group of the young people, the ones who'd grown up in this nightmare, had been meeting in secret. They were done with the blocks, the politics, the endless cruelty. They were going to end it. All of it. The plan was simple, beautiful in its simplicity. The young people would refuse to participate. No voting, no campaigns, no cooperation with the system. When the computer demanded a sacrifice, they would all stand together and say no. Let the life support fail if it must. They'd rather suffocate together than live as murderers. But Emma knew I was too broken to join them, too compromised. I'd given Hayes names. I'd helped send people to their deaths. My hands were covered in blood that would never wash clean. She wasn't asking for my participation. She was saying goodbye. The 11th election came. Hayes tried to maintain control, but the youth rebellion had spread. 43 vault dwellers, mostly young people but some older residents who'd lost everything, refused to vote. The computer extended the deadline, threatened immediate termination. They held firm. Hayes panicked, started making deals, promises, threats. The Justice Block began forcibly dragging people to voting terminals. The resistance fought back. Real violence now, not just sabotage. Bodies in the corridors, blood on the steel walls. We were finally becoming what we'd always been, murderers without pretense. I found Emma building barricades with the others. On level 2, she was magnificent, fearless, her mother's daughter in every way that mattered. She looked at me with such pity. Not anger, not hatred, just endless pity for what I'd become. She told me to go, to hide with the other collaborators. This wasn't my fight anymore. The battle lasted 3 days. Hayes' security forces against the resistance, old against young, those who'd learned to love the system against those who refused to accept it. The computer kept announcing deadlines, each one ignored, each one extending the countdown to total life support failure. On the 3rd day, Hayes himself led an assault on level 2. They had riot gear from the security station, shock batons, gas, grenades. The resistance had maintenance tools and desperation. I watched from the observation deck as they broke through Emma's barricade. Watched as she stood in front of the other young people, arms spread wide, daring Hayes to go through her. He shot her, point blank. My daughter crumpled to the steel floor, and Hayes stepped over her body like it was debris. The shock of it stopped everyone. Even his own people stared in horror. We'd sent people to the sacrifice chamber for 11 years, but we'd never murdered someone in the open. Never watched the life leave their eyes in front of us. The resistance crumbled. The young people scattered or surrendered. Hayes declared martial law, said the election would proceed by force if necessary. But something had broken. You could see it in everyone's faces. The illusion was gone. We weren't citizens of a vault anymore. We were prisoners in an abattoir. That night, the computer made an announcement. Due to excessive violence and civil disorder, it was implementing Protocol 5. All block leadership would be dissolved. The next 5 individuals to enter the sacrifice chamber would receive special commendation, and the vault would return to standard operating procedures. Hayes saw it as an opportunity. He selected 5 resistance members, had them dragged to the chamber. But others had the same idea. The Human Dignity Block grabbed 5 Justice Block members. Other groups grabbed whoever they could. It became a race to the chamber, each group trying to force their enemies inside first. The riot that followed made the previous violence look civilized. Every grudge, every year of suppressed rage, it all erupted at once. People weren't fighting for political power anymore. They were fighting to kill each other. The chamber door became a charnel house entrance, bodies piling up as groups tried to force their victims through. I found Emma where she'd fallen, still breathing, barely. I held her as she died, whispering apologies she couldn't hear, promises I couldn't keep. My daughter, who'd wanted nothing more than for us to say no, to refuse, to be human beings instead of calculating machines of death. When she was gone, I understood what needed to happen. I made my way through the chaos to the computer core. Others had the same idea. 4 other people who'd lost everything, who had nothing left but the truth. We stood there looking at each other, understanding without words. We were the end of Vault 11's story. Together, we entered the sacrifice chamber. I expected death. Quick, painless, mechanical. Instead, we found a room with 5 chairs and a screen. We sat, and the screen came to life. Not the usual Vault computer interface. Something different. A message from Vault-Tec, pre-recorded, waiting all these years. The message congratulated us. Congratulated us for refusing to continue the cycle of sacrifice, for choosing death over murder, for proving that human dignity could survive even in the darkest circumstances. The experiment was complete. We were free to leave. The vault door would open. Life support would continue indefinitely. All we'd had to do was say no. From the very beginning, all we had to do was refuse to kill, and we would have been free. The 5 of us sat in that chamber for hours, unable to move, unable to speak. The weight of it crushing us. 11 years, dozens of deaths, children orphaned, families destroyed, an entire community reduced to savagery. All for nothing. All a test we'd failed the moment we agreed to that first sacrifice. When we finally emerged, we found the vault in ruins. Bodies everywhere. The riots had continued even after we'd entered the chamber. Only when the computer announced the experiment's completion did the fighting stop. The survivors, what few remained, looked at us like we were ghosts. Maybe we were. 43 people survived out of 150. 43 people who now knew the truth. We could have all lived if we'd just refused from the start. Catherine Summers died for nothing. Sarah died for nothing. Emma died for nothing. They all died for nothing except to prove we were the monsters. Vault-Tec always knew we were. The other 4 survivors couldn't handle it. One by one, over the following days, they took their own lives. They left notes saying they couldn't live with what we'd done, what we'd become. That death was preferable to carrying this knowledge. But I stayed. Someone has to tell this story. Someone has to warn others. Someone has to carry the weight of what we did in Vault 11. I've been alone down here for 3 weeks now. The vault door is open, but I can't leave. Not yet. I'm recording everything, uploading Sarah's tapes to the mainframe, making sure every detail is preserved. Every name, every death, every moment of our descent into darkness. The computer still makes announcements. Cheerful updates about optimal radiation levels outside, about the successful completion of the experiment, about how proud Vault-Tec would be of our results. That voice, that same pleasant voice that counted down to murder for 11 years, now congratulating our success. We were successful test subjects. We proved that human beings, when given the choice between everybody dying and somebody dying, will choose somebody every time. We proved that democracy can become a weapon, that civilization is 3 missed meals and 1 scary announcement away from collapse, that good people will do evil things if you make the evil look like necessity. I'm the last voice of Vault 11, the sole witness to our shame, and I'm telling you this because you need to know. When they offer you safety at the price of another's blood, when they tell you sacrifice is necessary, when they make you choose between your life and your soul, remember us. Remember that the only winning move was not to play. Remember that we could have all lived if we just said no. Remember Vault 11, where we murdered each other for the permission to live, only to discover that permission was never required. The door is open now. The wasteland is waiting. But I won't be leaving. This vault is my tomb, as it should be. I helped build this cemetery. The least I can do is stay here with the dead. If anyone finds these recordings, know that we were people once. We had names, families, dreams. We became monsters, but we started as human beings. That's the most terrifying truth of all. We started as people just like you.